Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. It's certainly a special one because it is our pay-per-view, our not biggest event, I'd say our second biggest event. It is of course AEW Double or Nothing, and as you can probably see there, we have went all out and doubled down, basically going all for nothing, double or nothing effectively. So we're now average importance in terms of the event. It says 6 hours, we might be over that actually. Not too sure, I think it's like 340 minutes, so I'm not even going to do maths, so it might be. But this is intended to be a normal event. One thing you may have noticed, the pricing for this event is set as cheap. I've took a gamble here, so we've went with cheaper pricing, so maybe not as much gate receipts, but we will see a record crowd that should hopefully get us the achievement as well of over 80,000 attendance. We're in the MetLife Stadium, expected to get 82,000 fans, so nearly, not quite, double what we had at Double or Nothing last year, where we had 44,953 that witnessed a main event of Hangman, Jungle Boy, John Moxley and MJF in triple threat action. Mental that, just looking. So we had obviously a product tailored to different stuff. That was only an 81. AJ Kenny was only a 77. Sammy and Jericho was a 68. So I'm pretty sure either Jericho had a massive physical decline and the product didn't work, or that was way before it was patched and Jericho was a bit more able to cope with the whatever the product we use is. I've already forgotten. Wrestling Nerd. The Wrestling Nerd Nirvana, I think it is. We'll go with that, right. Anyway, I find it mad as well, only a 78 for the Young Bucks, Lucha Bros and Proud and Powerful. That certainly wouldn't happen. A year ago, and they still weren't over, I'd say even now, dragging off Finlay Jr. and Axel Dieter Jr. in that 51 match. Ace Austin took on Claudio. Shayna Baszler and Nikki Storm was our women's title match. We had the Blunterage against Shida and Iwatani. Matt Hardy, Austin Creed, Pac against Miro. And then that matchup that Kenta, well, that was so promising when Kenta debuted and just has never been great since. And obviously we started with Cody versus Brody Lee to open the show, and that's the only Double Nothing I've done, of course, because we started the save in June. So crazily, after this episode, it's 2 in-year games, 2 in-game years even. Never take paracetamol before you start doing a show or recording. Your words get a bit slurred, so we've got that to deal with. But yeah, I've got to deal with this headache somewhere or another. But yeah, basically when we get to the 1st of June, that's 2 in-game years, which I think is quite mad. Maybe, just maybe, we could see this save go to ridiculous lengths. I'd love to get to a crazy year. I really doubt it because we are booking all the TV shows, but you never know. I'd love to have a save that could go to 2032 and truly have like an FM experience, but we'll see. Alas, we have a massive show to book, so I don't want to bother on too much because we've got a lot to cover. So we've got a star band and we've got an A-list celebrity. One of them's 2.5 million. I think that's the star band because Legendary Band I think is 5 million, and the A-list celebrity on its own is 5 million. And 250,000 on a special set, so really trying to get those boosts to get that 100 show. So we won't make too much profit this month. Our pay-per-view sales hopefully should be good, but yeah, I think any gate receipts will be neglected by what we're paying celebrities. We've went full on WWE. Anyway, hope you do enjoy this. I think we are 26 segments. We've got a 1 hour match in our main event, and 2 pre-show matches, I believe. A couple of casino battle royales. Unfortunately, we can't do 21. There's no jokers here, just 20. But most importantly, thank you very much for tuning in. Let's have a blast. Let's see what we can achieve here, and let's double or nothing it. Let's go. So we have clicked continue. There's no going back, and the record-setting attendance crowd here at the MetLife Stadium in New York, 81,899 in attendance. So hopefully no mistakes in the booking, because I can't go back now and I didn't save it, so we'll lose everything. Start off with an abysmal pre-show match. There was the Women's Casino Battle Royale. and it was Kairi Hojo who won the Battle Royal in 14:30. I never set any of the final four, let the game decide who those could be, same with most eliminations and Iron Woman or Iron Man in the male version. Kairi wins it. The other members of the final four were Cassie, Toni Storm and Mia Yim, Cassie being the final elimination, and Mia Yim get the most eliminations over the course of the matchup, which was a 58. Other combatants in this matchup: Abaddon, Bea Priestley, Cassie, Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo and Britt Baker of the Fashion Empire, Evie, Giona Daddio, Heidi Lovelace, Kairi Hojo, Lana Austin, Maki Ito, Mia Yim, Nikki Storm, Penelope Ford, Priscilla Kelly, Shotzi Blackheart, Tennille Dashwood, Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. The male version was a poor matchup that saw Miro win the Casino Battle Royale in 21:46. The other members of the final four were Jacob Fatu, Roderick Strong and Tommy End, with Jacob Fatu being the final elimination. He also got the most eliminations, while Miro was your Iron Man in the 71 rated match. Featuring in this one were Anthony Bowens, Austin Creed, Chad Betts, Claudio Castagnoli, Colt Cabana, Drew Gulak, Evil Uno, Garza Jr., Hansen, Jacob Fatu, Kyle O'Reilly, Max Caster, Miro, Peter Avalon, Raymond Rowe, Roderick Strong, Samurai Del Sol, Sean Spears, Stu Grayson and Tommy End. And I can confirm with these Casino Battle Royale victories, Kairi Hojo will earn an opportunity for a championship match against the winner of Saraya and Mercedes Varnado, and Miro will earn an opportunity whenever he wishes for the TNT Championship. Now for your main show. Went a bit easy on this one. So, opening segment, as you know, I always do hype packages, your intro for the show, you're promoting the main feuds. We hear words from Kenny, Cody, Moxley and La Sombra. In this promo package, it's basically John Moxley saying for months and months and months this guy comes into AEW and thinks he can take over, not on his watch. He's going to travel to Los Angeles, he's going to battle La Sombra and he's going to throw him around. The various things we've got there, so it'll be stuff like parking lots, a movie set. I envisaged I don't know if any of you really remember it, but the GTA 5 movie place, I suppose you could kind of compare it to the Hollywood Brawl, that infamous matchup. And then obviously you get like Cody Rhodes and Kenny saying he was screwed over when he was going for that championship. He had to wait months and months for this opportunity to face Cody Rhodes again. This is it, inside a steel cage where no one can enter. So the opening promo has delivered. We just need their match to deliver. The rest of the show can be terrible and we'll still have an amazing show. That main event has to deliver. Straight into action, we had the Mixed Tag Team Championships on the line, and our surprise challengers were the team of Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy. So when I was looking at tandems to pair up against Anna Jay and Sir Brody Lee, I remembered these two have had a bit of chemistry on AEW's, BTE even. So I just felt like, yeah, we'll put them together and it gets them both on the pay-per-view. It was a decent matchup, and Sir Brody Lee and Anna Jay do defeat Statlander and Cassidy in 2007 when Anna Jay pinned Orange Cassidy. So my plan in there was, Brody just destroys him completely out and Anna Jay takes the pinfall. Anna can gain some overness out of it, Brody Lee looks like a beast. Anna Jay and Brody Lee make the fourth defence for the mixed tag titles, head and shoulders above the rest with his work ethic with Sir Brody Lee, and Statlander the weak link with a 51 Anna Jay in the middle, with a 61 Orange Cassidy off these game, but a 77, pretty respectable as the champs retain. Moving along, we had the Trios Championship on the line. I managed to fit them in, and we had a triple threat Trios match. It was about to have a decent reaction from the crowd and subpar wrestling as the New Age Horsemen AJ Styles, Ace Austin and Pete Dunne defeat Matt Sydal and the Hardys, and Uprising's Ricky Starks, Mark Quinn and Kip Sabian, who joined them in 14-14 when Pete Dunne pinned Kip Sabian with the bitter end. It gives them the first defence of the Trios Championship in the 70 rated matchup. I felt here the Hardys were too big to be off the show, Quinn and Starks were too big to be off the show, and the New Age Horsemen were too big to be off the show. So I put this kind of together Obviously Wardlow's in that match later on, that fatal 4-way, so it felt like Kip Sabian could join them, he can take the fall, and it just gives a bit more credibility to Ace Austin, AJ Styles and Pete Dunne, who remain Trios Champions. We then had that big matchup that had great wrestling and good heat, the grudge match of the former Inner Circle members, as Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful, defeat Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager in 1733 when Santana pinned Jake Hager. A 77 here, 4 good performances I would say, but the tag team prevail, and after it Santana and Ortiz completely destroy Jake Hager and put him through a table. Effectively what we're aiming for here is he's signed his contract, a written exclusive deal with WWE. I wasn't going to offer them that money. So he's gone. They've also signed Mr. Anderson for some reason, so they've really went on a surge of signing people 39-40, which in my opinion is a bit too old, but I suppose in wrestling he can be whatever age, it doesn't really matter. But that's what I went with, and that delivered in 86, which was very promising. So it'll be interesting to see how Sammy rebounds as a solo act. Next up, MJF's cut his promo on Chris Jericho. He says by now he should be a multiple-time world champion. Chris Jericho just needs to get out of his head. It's not ideal that he's brought Jungle Boy along, and he's also just being a nuisance. But tonight's the night, him and Wardlow, both of them together. Get rid of Jericho, get rid of MJF, rid of Jungle Boy, and he can start moving back towards the world title picture. And that's an 85. Match itself delivered an 80, and it was a superb matchup that saw Chris Jericho defeat MJF, Wardlow and Jungle Boy in 21-28 when Jericho pinned Wardlow with a Judas effect. You're probably wondering, why am I putting a 51-year-old man over all these young athletes? MJF I'm still happy to push forward because of the social media storm, and I don't know its after effects still, so I'm keeping it away from him. Ideally I wanted to put Jungle Boy over, that was the plan, but despite keeping Chris Jericho and MJF strong, Jericho was still unhappy, so I just opted to give Jericho the win, and I'll try and play a storyline out of that going forward. But yeah, 94, MJF 96, and it just makes you wonder how far Jericho would be off a 100, because that's him with a declining physical ability. Been hoping big long matches with Jericho as well can hopefully get the inexperienced away from Wardlow and Jungle Boy. With the decent matchup between Johnny Gargano and Killer Cross, Gargano wins in 1801 with Hurt's Donut. This was 72. Both guys with a 70. So I felt like in this one, I obviously want to give Cross the win to give Gargano a chance to recover. Gargano needs the overness. He's like 66, so it was a no-brainer. We'll put him over, and Lexi can be frustrated coming out of this and allow Killer Cross to chase going forward. Next up, we had the Women's Tag Team Championships in the line. It was a bout that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling, as Riho and Hikaru Shida defeated Shayna Baszler and Layla Hirsch in 14:06 when Riho pinned Shayna with the Northern Light suplex, giving them their first defence of the Women's Tag Team titles. A very respectable 61 here, 53, 56, 45 and 64 for performances. But on our final attempt before she retires, Shayna Baszler will not be a champion. But what does this mean for Layla Hirsch going forward? We'll step forward her new tag team partner. As Riho and Shida celebrate, Shayna and Layla put a beat down, and they're joined by our newest signee to All Elite Wrestling, Daria Varnado, who runs in, and the three of them beat down Shida and Riho. So a 51 rated segment there. Simple. You lose Baszler, Hirsch and Daria together as a tag team. Perfect. Two legit women basically. So brilliant. Moving along with a decent matchup between Generico and Walter, with Generico winning in 20:59 with the Brainbuster. This was a 71. I feel this matchup would have been so much better if they were over. I think this one kind of came the same way as Gargano and Cross. Generico needed the overness more. I want to push him to the top, and I feel like a victory here was merited. So Walter's going to be pissed off coming out of this. But again, you've got to give people... I'm trying to get a lot of people to that 70 to 80 overness bracket, because I believe that's what your upper mid-carder should be personally. So the fact that Generico may sign them is under that, not ideal. but hopefully we can elevate him to that level. We then had Mick Foley. Not saying this is a new stable, I just didn't have an angle for it. But we don't have an angle to put away 3 people from the arena. But he has sent AJ Styles, Ace Austin and Pete Dunne away from the building. Security have escorted them, and they will not be able to interfere in the main event of tonight's show. So a 75 there. Bye bye Austin, Styles and Dunne, who won't be able to impact that main event. Further along, we had the AEW Live Championship on the line. It was about to have a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, and Scorpio Sky picked up the win on Ua Nation in 14:25 with a fatal answer. 7th defence of the AEW Live Championship, and just a 66 here. Ua Nation just is not over in this, because this was obviously way before his massive push, this mod, so he's only 49 in ring performance because he's 45 over. But we'll push him, we'll give him a good run going forward, but still a good level for him to debut at, and looking forward to pushing him going forward. We then had the sensational wrestling match for the AEW Tag Team Championships, and about to had sensational wrestling and fantastic heat. The Lucha Brothers defeat the Young Bucks in 21:57 when Rey Fénix pinned Matt Jackson with a Meteora, giving the Lucha Bros the 10th defence of the AEW tag titles, and 93, 95 for Nick, 92 for Matt, 99, 100 for Fénix and Penta. The wacky psychology maybe even cost us a possible 98, 99. It's weird because there's some matches that they have with other teams, and I don't feel the other teams quite have the attributes, especially not the psychology stats, so I don't know why it works with some teams and doesn't work with the others. Like, this is fine, this gets the penalty, sorry, but them against Trent and Chuck, and they've got poor psychology stats, don't. It's weird, but we'll keep working with them. I'm hoping if we can maybe get Penta to 84, 85 psychology, if they can improve any more, then we'll be fine going forward. But it's crazy that only get a 98, sorry, that is solo on the card and they get a 93, because there's still a lot of big major matches to come. But a good one there for the Lucha Bros. It's going to be a shame when I eventually do split them and go Fénix v Penta, but for now, keep that run going. Then it's Samoa Joe with a promo. He says he's going to become TNT champion. He respects Prince Devitt, but he has to understand tonight in this ladder match for the TNT championship, there's 5 guys he just wants to hurt and take away that championship. So decided to go ladder match. It felt like good opportunity, opens up a few possibilities for who could win. I just hope it delivers. And I got an 83. So we had a superb matchup, which saw Hangman Page defeat Darby Allin, Nakamura, Devitt, Brian Cage and Samoa Joe in a ladder match in 21:40 when Hangman Page retrieved the item. Here's your new AEW TNT champion. So an 83 for Hangman. You can see there Darby Allin's got a gimmick that's getting stale, but also took a crazy bump. So why Hangman? Why has he took up the win? Well, obviously he's had these issues with Joe and Nakamura, and he's been happy to put them over. So I can touch on them, and I just feel like Devitt's, fair enough, he's not as over as Hangman, but Devitt's at that level where I want to push him up. Hangman I can drop down to TNT level, have some good matches, he can lose and still be over, and I want to keep him away for the world title picture for a wee bit. But I don't think he's the Grand Slam champion yet. I don't think they've had a tag run in this, because I think this may have been before Kenny and Hangman won the belts when I started it. You double check that. But yeah, Hangman Page is your new TNT champion. Hopefully Darby didn't get injured. Yep, just one negative, and that was Nakamura's declining physical abilities. So overall, thumbs up. And what I decided to do here was just like basically like a highlight angle, where we would just see the instance of Brian Cage putting Darby Allin through the table. So this is what causes the stunt bump, which was an 85. So I thought it was a nice wee idea we could have added, and an 85 is really good for Cage and Darby. Then had the matchup between Pac and Rey Mysterio. This was about the great heat and good wrestling. Pac defeating Mysterio in 14:20 with a shooting star leg drop. Don't know why he would use that, but So the mod's got as one of his finishing manoeuvres, 81, 95 for Pac, 64 for Mysterio. Was my Steal the Show matchup. The difference in overness, it was always going to be a Pac victory, but happy to get the win for Pac and looking forward to using Mysterio going forward for the next couple of months at least. Now get ready for our Women's Championship match, and we have Saraya cutting a promo on Mercedes. She just says it's been so long since she's been in a Women's Championship match. She's had a long road to recovery to get to this place. So she's going to give it everything she's got, and she's really looking forward to what should be a good matchup with Mercedes. That's a 69. And their matchup was good. Mercedes Varnado did get the win in 22-16, so I gave them plenty of time. She defeats Saraya following interference from Dr. Britt Baker. Mercedes makes the third defence of the AEW World Championship, the Women's World title. Now, you're wondering why it's a 70, despite the good performances there. Saraya was 77. I had to protect Saraya to keep her looking strong. Mercedes is still not as over as I'd like her to be. She's still like low 60s, so I was hoping a win here could elevate her to that level. And I kind of want to keep the title on her for a wee bit longer. And it gives us a chance to add more layers to both characters. So the 70 is still really good. It's probably the peak of our women's division so far, but we have got so... I do want to try and see if I can get a 100 rated match, not just in the men's division, but the women's. And with the age of these ladies, we'll get plenty of time to develop them into world-class competitors. So a good base point. We have a wee segment where Mercedes celebrates in the ring, a 74. That's promising, so hopefully she's the wee pop gain from the victory. But someone's at the top of the Tron, and she's a wee bit concerned. Because making their AEW debut on a fan favourite gimmick, which hit an initial rating of poor, which is not ideal. We don't have Bayley, we have Bayley, spelt differently so I could get around it. But Bayley is with AEW. That deal was done a long time ago. Looking forward to bringing her in, looking forward to seeing what we can do with her. Mercedes comes out of it looking $1 million, and we've got a 69 rated segment. But I feel like if you're going to debut as someone like a Bayley, you need to do this at a major event, and I think Double or Nothing would certainly be a good instance for that. But again, it's raiding WWE's division, but I think if we can mix them with some of our AEW women, we've got one of the best divisions we could possibly have, and there might be more to come. As we had superb wrestling and great heat, and we had La Sombra, Almas defeat John Moxley in the cinematic hardcore match on the LA streets in 23:35. During the matchup, we had the debuting Ashley run in and attack Moxley. So 82, Ashley is of course La Sombra's partner, Charlotte Flair, obviously known as Ashley, that's her actual name, so I felt we'll just call her Ashley. 92 rating for Moxley, 80 for Almas. The industry leader production values added to the cinematic style match, and 82, because we had to protect Moxley, I'm trying to build a star out of La Sombra, so we had to keep Moxley looking strong, and hopefully that elevates La Sombra to mid-80s overness. Moxley, if he drops a bit, can easily gain that back, but just to be helping La Sombra gain that through. So yeah, a few negatives here. Moxley's declining physical ability, and you see here Moxley being strong, but this was always a plan. As soon as the match was always going to happen before we even signed Charlotte, but to get her in adds an extra layer to La Sombra's character. He's got his partner with him, and he can have a really pissed off Moxley coming out of this. After the matchup, La Sombra and Ashley celebrate together. Could say king and queen. 82, as they don't celebrate in the ring, they celebrate somewhere in Los Angeles where a matchup is, and he came out of it looking good, which is good to see. We'll do a review as well of everybody's overness after the episode, because it'll be a long one. Time for our main event then. Cody Rhodes makes an elaborate entrance, just the 4-minute one, just to make sure we don't get the lack of anything happening note that we normally get. Just an 80, but you know Cody would always have some sort of mad entrance for a pay-per-view. And now it's time, 60 minutes inside a steel cell. All this flop, all this deliver. And it done okay. I wouldn't say it flopped, but I was expecting it to be in the 90s, if I'm being perfectly honest. An exceptional matchup, Kenny Omega defeats Cody Rhodes in a steel cell match in 60 minutes and 16 seconds by pinfall via the one-winged angel, meaning that Kenny Omega is your new AEW World Champion. So first time he's won it massive. As a babyface he wins it as well. Cody benefits from a hot new move. Both guys bring a 91 performance, and the segment as a whole 86. How do we look at this one? So you look. Kenny's inconsistency, Cody's low gimmick, low morale and poor gimmick. It could possibly be because Kenny was maybe only like 89 over, so he wasn't quite at the elite level, but hopefully that match might have propelled him to it. And finishes the show, Kenny celebrates, crowd goes wild, Kenny comes across a real star. 82, I think we'll probably 186, I think we'll maybe look at about a 92 or a 93 here, so the gamble didn't pay off I don't think. Let's see. 92, there you go. That's when you can predict how your product works, so I'm still happy with that. We've broken our attendance record, we've had a fantastic show that will gain us pop in, I think it will just be Canada and Mexico. We won't gain anywhere in the US because we pretty much need to get 92s to gain in the US, but really solid show. A lot of people on the card, and you can kind of see where we're going with some people. Even though we've signed a lot of former WWE people, this is probably one of the shows where most of them have actually done well. Because you get the Sombra one, I suppose that doesn't really count because at the time of recording he's just left. Mercedes is one. Another WWE person really gained. El Generico's faced another WWE person, so was Gargano. I'd say we've done quite well to promote the current talent. Scorpio Sky winning, Shida and Riho winning, Lucha Bros winning, Hangman winning, Pac over Mysterio. I don't think it's overly too awful. I'm quite happy with that. So we'll finish up and we'll jump into the main screen and we'll see if we're going to lose a bit of money or whatnot. Oh dear, I just seen tribute to Matt Bloom. I don't know if he's just passed away in game or if that's a previous passing and they've made that show. Have a wee look here. A tribute to Matt Bloom, so he must have passed away in Save and they've created a tribute show to him. That's mad that. It probably happened a while ago. I know I'm a tribute to Matt Bloom there. So there you go, that's a feature that I've only just discovered a long time in. So the show itself was awesome, got fantastic reviews. Before we check anything else, we're 2 million still down. So no, that's actually not the worst because we're still 12 million. We were losing money anyway there and there. Pay-per-view revenue was up. Ticket sales was down to March. I wouldn't account it to April because April was the 2 pay-per-view, the 2 large event show, so I'm not too worried about that. Broadcast revenue is in a good position. Sponsorship was up. Merch was a wee bit lower. And obviously show cost 3 million, so we actually would have turned a bit of the same amount if we didn't have that, and that's despite big money media. So overall, yeah, still 12 million, so that's fine. We could maybe even save that for next month and put it towards getting that enormous broadcasting revenue for the US, or we can put it towards the other regions. Alright, so we'll quickly go through these. There's a lot of stuff to cover here. Minoru Suzuki is retiring. Dalton Castle is signed with WWE. As we got here, Silas Young is with WWE, so they are signing a lot of people in the kind of 40 plus bracket. Cheerleader Melissa is to retire. WWE are setting their sights on new signings. They also, you can see there, signed Chris Hero. They extended the deal with Eric Young. They obviously took Matt Sydal from us, and they've re-signed Sheamus as well. So, as I say, a hiring spree over the age of 40. What else we got here? We've told you about the Matt Bloom stuff. Kip Sabian is now toned to muscular. Prince Devitt says there's money in Kairi Hojo. Looking forward to Kairi versus Mercedes at one point. 13k there, 2.5 million views, but the buy rate was 5.70. So just a few more things to cover. Let's quickly go to Company Wars. Let's go to All Elite Wrestling. The reason we're third in the world is obviously because we aren't popular out with the States. States were way over Canada were pretty respectable. Mexico's getting there. British Isles is decent. Japan, slow but surely. Europe, Oceania, India. It's a long way to go. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the top 100s. So the show itself was in 92, so that gives us our 5th best show ever. So it's great you can be disappointed with your 5th best show ever, but you can see we know what's working now. That's all mostly 2022. Top 100 matches, the Lucha Bros against the Young Bucks is in at number 5 as well. Kenny and Cody, the 86, will probably, if I can try and even find that, because there's a lot of 86s in there. Number 31 there. 31st best match of AEW of all time. You can see it's usually the same combinations in most instances. Attendances, because we put it as a lower price, smashed it, up 16,000 from the Tag Team Spectacular to give us a record attendance there, and our biggest buy rate as well, a 5.70 at 0.14 over AEW Tag Team Spectacular. So yeah, things are good, man. Let's have a look at Overness. So obviously I'd like to mostly look at active competitors. So that's what I'm looking for. Well, we know he's signing anyway. I've already confirmed that. He'll be in next month. May have accidentally forgot about that myself. So you can see the development and the progress of Anna Jay. The fact she is closing on nearly 60 overness in most places. Some places nearly at 70. Although as a place she's more over in the... Well, she's not over anywhere else apart from the US. I would say a degree in Japan and a bit in Mexico. That just shows why we're going to be predominantly continuing just to broadcast in America and perform in America, because other places were not over. But maybe over time we can certainly work on that. Ashley, 79 over when we debut, so we'll focus on the US overness at the moment. Bailey, we got her as at 63s. Jericho, guy's still at 97 over in some places, 91s, 94s, is good. Cody in defeat, still in the 90 bracket, so that's pretty good from him. His popularity, as you can see, has always kind of been there the last year. Hawaii seem to like him now compared to previous. Darby Allin is on that kind of threshold of the main event. Britt Baker's still struggling though. She is on like she's over in the tri-state, but we really need to just give her maybe even a program to get her over. Generico didn't really gain. Well, we have got him up 5 since the debut. I suppose he was at 58 when we got him. But yeah, WWE have just dropped the bomb with him, so we really need to try and push him to the next level. Garza is only at 52s and 51s, so you can see the job we've got in our hand there. Hangman, anywhere between 72, 85s and 94s for his overness. Mid-South loves them some Hangman. Shida, we've got up to the 50s, which is good to see. Hager that we're losing is in the mid-60s. Gargano, that's good, he was like 65, so he's up to the 70s. That was a good win over Walter. Moxley, you can see there, just under the 90s, so he did lose a little bit, putting La Sombra over. But we'll take that. As I say, that will benefit La Sombra hopefully, and Moxley can certainly recover. Jungle Boy, 70s. Been quite proud of that one. That's been one that it's been a great build up. 49 in July last year to 70 now, so a really good push of Jungle Boy. Kerry, 67, she's in a good place. The big one, Kenny's still not getting over. Oh, has it been capped? Is that as far as we can get the best bout machine over? You can see there he's been stuck at 91s and all that. Like, the fact that he's had the big one over Cody but remains the same as last month is a wee bit concerning. He has made big gains since last year, at least 13, even 20 in the Mid-Atlantic region, but yeah, I think Kenny might be capped. At least he's got his World Championship reign. Kenta was at the 70s before his suspension. Killer Cross drops 2. Chris Statlander at 44. She is gaining a little bit. The big one, La Sombra. Please don't tell that. To be fair, this might just be the recent patch to at the time of recording that kind of did loosen the the gains of pop increases, but with Sombra, it's probably gained 2 or 3 since we've got him. But yeah, I was hoping that elevated him a bit more. So we'll keep working with him, that's good. Adds that wee extra bit of challenge, that's sometimes what you need in a game. Leo Hirsch at 42, 41. Ito will be here for a while, there's big plans for her if we go further than a few years. Matt Riddle's at the 66 level, Matt Jackson 86, 85. Mercedes gained a little bit, just short of the 70s, but it's still a bit better than what she was at. I think she was 60, I said. You can see there the slight gains, especially in the last month with that victory of her tenure in AEW. MGF, 95s across the board, 96s, 94s in there, that's good. Miro, he'll get pushed a little bit going forward, obviously divorced now from Lana. Nick Jackson, we have signed Natalia, you think you know about that, but she'll be putting people over. She's here as pretty much a player coach, try and help that psychology onto other workers. She also does social media storm. Orange Cassidy, mid-70s, good from him. Ortiz, 72, back in the 90s as well. Penta in the 90s too. Prince Devitt, despite his defeat in the high 80s, that'll be a little drop for him, I think. No, he's pretty much stayed the same. You can see there ever since we got him from WWE, pushed him to the moon, and that's big gains in a short period of time. Priscilla Kelly in the mid-50s, Ray Phoenix is in the high 90s as well, Ricky Starks in the 50s, 60s, Mysterio 64 all over, just these to go, don't worry, nearly there. Ricky Starks, we've built him up really well, I think we got him at the 30s, 26 even, when we signed him, and his push over the year has got him to a good place. Happy with that progression. Not everybody can be a main eventer, but we obviously know what our future is. Worthy Strong 67, Riho 57, I think she's had good gains. Up about 7 in the last couple of months, so we've still done a little, but she's had a good push since. Sammy Guevara, losing to Santana and Ortiz has seen a big drop in the Spanish God. But that's fine, he's 28, plenty of time to develop him. And it just shows you not everybody will get super over, some will have declines, peaks and valleys. And it's only a 77 psychology. Joe's up to 76 thanks to the Hangman stuff. Scorpio Sky at 70s, Santana 70 as well. Shayna's going to be like 60s before she retires. 3 months, so that was the 4th week of June. So might have like 1 or 2 matches on Dynamite before she retires, and then we'll go for there. Nakamura, high 70s. Brody Lee is in the 90s. His work with Anna Jay has been fantastic, but I don't know how much longer we'll go with that, because I do want him to continue to help with other Dark Order members and elevate them. Apart from that, Thunder Rosa is a bit all over the place, but she is gaining. 21 to start with, now in the 40s in some places. You can see there even in the Great Lakes, a gain of 18. Tommy End in the low 70s, Tony Storm in the high 50s. Taylor Bate in the 60s, Nation 45, so that's what we're dealing with. Volter in the 63s. Where we got him, he was in the 50, he was in about the 60s as well, so not a real loss there. Wardlow, same kind of level. Osprey's just whenever we use them. And obviously, Yuka will get pushed when she comes back from injury. So a lot covered in this episode. The last thing I wanted to check is, do we consider it a Grand Slam then? Because he has a former tag champ, Kenny, in this. So that means I think Kenny and Hangman would have started as tag champs in my save. Because if I was going to make them a Grand Slam, they'd need to win everything there, which is a bit ridiculous, but they'd be a real life Grand Slam. At least my title belts are getting prestige, thanks to those two. So we leave the save with your tag champs as the Lucha Bros, with Kenny Omega as your world champion, Mercedes Varnado as your women's champion, your women's tag team champions is Riho and Hikaru Shida, your trios champions is Ace Austin, AJ Styles and Pete Dunne, your TNT champion is Hangman Page, your mixed tag team champions is Sir Brody Lee and Anna Jay, and your live champion as Scorpio Sky. Now this is where it gets interesting. Because I've booked so far ahead, I'm taking a few months break from the save. So I probably won't play this again for maybe 2-3 months, but it gives me a chance to get some creative ideas, play some other games, experience a bit of outside after lockdown. For you guys, next episode will be in 3 days' time. I'll be straight back to uploading stuff. I'll take a break, but I'll be way back in time for this episode going live. So you won't notice anything, but I've probably had about a 3-month break from booking it. So, scenes before I get addicted and keep playing again, and end up even further ahead in recordings. But thanks very much for being a part of the series. It's been great so far. Long way to go. I want every achievement in this game, which is proven to get that 100. Especially when you have to get like 100, is it not 50 shows at a high level at the 100? So it's going to be difficult, but we keep developing the projects we've got in our company, and we'll get there. So as always, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, stay safe, and good day, good night, bye bye.